Now to the latest on the college admissions cheating scandal. Felicity Huffman has apologized and taken responsibility for her crime as she and 13 other defendants agreed to plead guilty in the case. Big question this morning, will Huffman and other parents get prison time?
Fame once opened every door for them. Red carpets rolled out, contracts signed overnight, and audiences adored their every move. Then something changed. Quiet phone calls stopped coming. Offers vanished. Studios backed away. In Hollywood, one mistake, rumor, or bad decision can erase decades of success in a heartbeat. Today, we reveal 10 actors who once ruled the industry but now find themselves unwelcome, avoided, and quietly erased from casting lists. What happened behind the scenes, and why won't Hollywood hire them anymore today? Number 10. Felicity Huffman. Felicity Huffman was long seen as one of Hollywood's most dependable and respected actresses. With standout performances in Desperate Housewives and the Oscar-nominated Trans-America, she earned a reputation for professionalism, grace, and emotional depth. Directors trusted her to carry complex roles with sincerity, while audiences admired her understated charm. For years, Huffman's career reflected stability, quiet prestige, and credibility. A steady climb rather than sudden stardom or controversy. She was the kind of actor Hollywood relied on to deliver, season after season. But in 2019, everything changed. Huffman's name became synonymous with one of the most shocking scandals in recent Hollywood history: the college admissions cheating scheme. Details revealed that she had paid to falsify her daughter's standardized test scores, attempting to secure her a place at an elite university. The news exploded across social media, TV, and newspapers, leaving fans, colleagues, and the industry stunned. The woman known for integrity and professionalism suddenly seemed willing to break the law behind closed doors. Felicity Huffman pleaded guilty and served a brief prison sentence, paid heavy fines, and completed community service. While the legal consequences were short-lived, the damage to her career was far more lasting. Acting offers vanished, planned projects quietly fell apart, and casting discussions stopped almost instantly. Even years later, Hollywood remains cautious, treating her return carefully as the shadow of the scandal still lingers. Her story is a stark reminder that in Hollywood, no amount of talent, discipline, or past respect can fully shield a career from sudden collapse. Felicity Huffman's rise and shocking fall reveal the harsh realities behind the glitz of Tinseltown, but her story is just the beginning. Who fell from even greater heights? Let's find out. Number 9. Kristen Stewart. Kristen Stewart became a global phenomenon almost overnight as Bella Swan in Twilight. The franchise made her one of the most recognizable young actresses in the world, adored by fans, and positioned for a smooth transition into mainstream stardom. Studios expected her to carry that momentum into big-budget roles that would define her post-Twilight career. That expectation faltered in 2012. While promoting Snow White and The Huntsman, Stewart was photographed in an affair with the film's director, Rupert Sanders, despite being in a highly publicized relationship with her Twilight co-star, Robert Pattinson. The images spread instantly, igniting public outrage and intense media scrutiny. What had been a carefully managed young star image collapsed overnight. The fallout came fast and left a lasting mark. Kristen Stewart publicly apologized, but the impact didn't fade easily. Audiences began to see her differently, and Hollywood followed suit. Big franchise plans lost steam, studios grew cautious, and image-focused roles slipped away. Projects like Snow White slowed, and questions about her box office pull quietly reshaped the path of her career. In the years that followed, Kristen Stewart stepped away from huge studio films and took a different path, choosing smaller, bolder, independent projects. While movies like American Ultra didn't revive her blockbuster appeal, these quieter roles slowly reshaped her image. Instead of chasing popularity, she earned renewed respect from critics, rebuilding her career away from the spotlight. Kristen Stewart's career didn't end, but it changed direction permanently. Once positioned as a traditional Hollywood leading lady, she emerged instead as an art house actress, largely removed from the franchise machine that first made her famous. Her story shows that public image can shape a career just as much as talent can build one. But whose career didn't just shift direction and instead collapse entirely? Let's take a look at the next actor. Number 8. Shia LaBeouf. Shia LaBeouf began as Hollywood's wild child prodigy, growing up in front of the camera with raw energy and charm. What started as quirky child roles quickly evolved into massive blockbuster fame. His fearless performances and unpredictable edge made him stand out, and the Transformers franchise turned him into a global star almost overnight. LaBeouf wasn't only a box office draw. Critics also admired his willingness to plunge into darker, more challenging roles. He brought a raw, almost reckless energy to his performances, pushing himself without fear and surprising everyone who watched. Directors praised his intensity and dedication, and for a moment, Hollywood believed it had found a rare star, unpredictable, electrifying, and powerful enough to lead a new generation. Behind the scenes, turmoil followed him everywhere. Arrests, explosive public incidents, and unpredictable behavior began stacking up, making studios question whether he could be trusted. Fans watched in shock as a once unstoppable star unraveled, with his private struggles dominating headlines instead of his work. The breaking point arrived when a lawsuit accused him of abuse. Overnight, the industry reeled. Projects stalled, support evaporated, and a reputation built over years was suddenly overshadowed by controversy that permanently changed how Hollywood saw him and reshaped his future in the spotlight forever afterward. As controversy followed him, studios slowly pulled back, replacing him in projects and avoiding new commitments. Facing the fallout, LaBeouf chose to confront his struggles head-on. He entered treatment and began speaking openly about addiction, faith, and the mistakes that shaped his life. His path to recovery played out in public, marked by painful honesty, visible remorse, and a sincere effort to change his story and rebuild himself beyond the chaos. LaBeouf's story shows that talent alone is no longer enough to maintain Hollywood's trust. For some, the consequences were even more severe. Who is next? Number 7. James Franco. James Franco was once everywhere. From Oscar-nominated performances to high-profile directing gigs, from teaching at prestigious acting schools to collaborating with some of Hollywood's most celebrated names, he seemed untouchable. Fans and critics alike marveled at his ability to move seamlessly between intense, award-worthy dramas and blockbuster hits. There was a sense that no challenge was too big, no role too daring. Franco was not just an actor. He was a brand, a creative force, a figure whose presence alone could elevate a project. But that image began to crack. Allegations of inappropriate conduct started surfacing, connected to an acting school he had founded. Suddenly, the industry began to question the man behind the talent. Lawsuits followed. Whispers became headlines, and the momentum that had once carried him effortlessly through Hollywood seemed to stall overnight. What had been a career defined by versatility and ambition became overshadowed by controversy. The fallout was swift and unforgiving. Film studios quietly froze projects, unwilling to risk their reputations on a name that once drew instant buzz. His teaching positions vanished almost overnight, stripping away an important part of his career. Former collaborators stepped back, friendships cooled, and Franco slowly withdrew from public view, watching his once busy professional life come to an abrupt standstill. In the years that followed, he attempted a quiet return, taking roles in smaller international productions, exploring indie films, and seeking projects that allowed him to work without constant scrutiny. Yet the Hollywood doors that had once opened so easily now remained largely closed. The major studio support, the fame, the budgets, the blockbuster audiences that had once defined James Franco's career never returned. His fall showed just how quickly influence can vanish when trust is broken. Yet even Franco's downfall pales in comparison to the next actor, whose collapse played out under an even brighter spotlight. Let's unravel who it is. Number 6. Charlie Sheen. At the height of his career, Charlie Sheen was untouchable. Television's highest-paid actor, he commanded the spotlight with effortless charisma, razor-sharp comedic timing, and a presence that could carry any room or any set. 2.5 Men wasn't just a hit. It was a cultural phenomenon, a ratings powerhouse built around his star power. Advertisers, producers, and fans alike depended on him. He seemed invincible, a figure whose name alone could guarantee success and whose lifestyle made headlines even when cameras weren't rolling. But fame has a fragile edge. Behind the glitter and laughter, Sheen's world began to fracture. Public spats with producers, erratic interviews, and wildly unpredictable behavior turned him into a media spectacle. Every headline painted him as increasingly unstable, every scandal feeding the next. The breaking point came when Warner Brothers and the show's creators decided enough was enough. His sudden firing from 2.5 Men shocked the entertainment world and became one of television's most infamous exits, a dramatic fall from the very heights he had scaled. In the aftermath, Sheen tried to rebuild, launching a new series, Anger Management, attempting to reclaim his place in an industry that once revolved around him. But the rules had changed. Networks grew cautious, hesitant to risk another public meltdown. Film offers became sparse, and the relentless momentum that had once defined his career stalled. Slowly, quietly, the powerhouse, who had seemed untouchable, faded from the center of Hollywood's gaze. Charlie Sheen's story is a cautionary tale of fame at its most extreme, a reminder that even the brightest star can burn out when talent, ego, and controversy collide, leaving a legacy of both triumph and spectacular implosion. Charlie's fame collapsed almost overnight when his professionalism vanished. But Hollywood hadn't seen anything like what came next. Now, let's explore the star whose career fell amid shocking allegations. Number 5. Armie Hammer. Armie Hammer's rise in Hollywood felt unstoppable. With standout performances in The Social Network and Call Me By Your Name, he embodied the modern leading man, polished, charming, and seemingly untouchable. Directors saw a star capable of commanding both intimate, character-driven stories and large-scale productions. Fans admired his looks, charisma, and effortless presence on screen. Studios viewed him as bankable, a rare combination of talent, image, and star power that promised years of blockbuster roles and high-profile projects. For a time, it seemed nothing could derail him. Then everything changed in 2021. a wave of disturbing allegations surfaced, sparking investigations that sent shockwaves through the industry. The clean, polished image Hammer had cultivated was shattered. Representation dropped him, casting calls dried up, and projects he was attached to quietly recast or stalled. His name, once synonymous with Hollywood promise, became a source of caution and controversy. Even though no criminal charges ultimately followed, the damage was already done. The studios that once fought to sign him now avoided his name entirely, and casting directors hesitated to attach him to any project with potential risk. His career, once full of opportunity and momentum, ground to a sudden halt. Hammer's story is a stark reminder of how quickly fame can collapse. One moment, you are the golden boy of Hollywood. The next, whispers and allegations can erase years of work, trust, and potential. The allure, charm, and promise of a rising star may dazzle the world, but in an industry where reputation matters as much as talent, one misstep, or even one accusation, can bring it all crashing down, leaving a career in ruins. Hammer's downfall shows that in Hollywood, perception can be just as powerful as legal outcomes. But who is the next actor? Now, let's take a closer look at the actor whose arrest rocked the industry. Number 4. Mel Gibson. Mel Gibson once stood at the very top of Hollywood. He was not only a famous actor, but also a respected director and a guaranteed box office draw. Films like Braveheart and the Lethal Weapon series turned him into a global icon. Audiences admired his intensity, studios relied on his name to sell tickets, and fellow filmmakers wanted his involvement. At his peak, Gibson represented power, success, and creative control, shaping major movies and influencing the industry for years with confidence, ambition, and a presence that felt larger than life itself. Then, everything began to unravel. In 2006, Gibson was arrested for driving under the influence, but the real storm erupted when recordings surfaced of him making anti-Semitic remarks. The public was stunned, the media erupted, and the industry recoiled. Years later, additional audio tapes revealed expletive-laden tirades, further intensifying the controversy. Studios severed ties, longtime collaborators distanced themselves, and projects that had seemed destined for success were quietly shelved. A career once defined by ambition and brilliance now faced a very public reckoning. Despite the backlash, Mel Gibson slowly worked his way back into Hollywood by stepping behind the camera. Hacksaw Ridge earned strong reviews and attracted attention, proving his talent had not disappeared. Still, the industry was no longer the same. The flood of leading man roles never returned, and major studios stayed cautious, unwilling to risk placing him at the center of big, high-profile films again. Mel Gibson's career became one of careful selection, a mix of smaller-scale films and sporadic ventures that reminded audiences of his talent while never fully restoring the dominance he once held. His story is a stark reminder that even Hollywood's most powerful figures aren't immune to controversy. But who comes next? Now, let's dive into the star whose collapse permanently changed how Hollywood handles scandal. Number 3. Jonathan Majors. Jonathan Majors' rise in Hollywood was nothing short of meteoric. In just a few short years, he went from a promising talent to one of the most sought-after actors in the industry. Acclaimed performances in Lovecraft Country and The Last Black Man in San Francisco earned him critical praise, while landing a central role in the Marvel Cinematic Universe seemed to cement him as a long-term franchise powerhouse. Audiences and studios alike saw him as the next generation's leading man, versatile, charismatic, and capable of carrying blockbuster projects with ease. His career trajectory promised awards, recognition, and a starring place at the forefront of Hollywood's elite. But that promising future came crashing down in 2023. Allegations led to an arrest and, ultimately, a conviction, sending shockwaves through the industry. The response was swift and decisive. Marvel, one of Hollywood's most powerful studios, immediately severed ties, and planned projects that had been built around his character were scrapped. Studio strategies were rewritten overnight, leaving directors, producers, and co-stars to adjust to a reality without the rising star they had counted on. What made Jonathan Majors' fall so shocking was its timing. At the very moment his career was soaring, with major roles and franchise opportunities positioning him as one of Hollywood's brightest rising stars, everything came crashing down. The speed and severity of the industry's response, from studios cutting ties to projects being scrapped, sent a powerful signal. Hollywood was entering a new era of accountability, where fame offers no immunity from serious consequences. Majors' story serves as a cautionary tale, a reminder that fame can be fragile and fleeting. In an industry where momentum matters as much as talent, a single scandal or misstep can erase years of carefully built credibility. Yet, two names remain whose falls were even more devastating. Let's find out who they are. Number 2. Allison Mack. Allison Mack was once one of television's most beloved faces. As Chloe Sullivan on Smallville, she charmed audiences with her intelligence, warmth, and dependable presence, which made her a fan favorite for years. Week after week, viewers tuned in to watch her wit, loyalty, and subtle charisma light up the screen. But behind the fame and adoration, few could have predicted the dark and shocking path her life would take. How a promising career filled with admiration and potential could unravel in ways that stunned the world. Allison Mack's world collapsed when her involvement in Annex 1 Femme was exposed. The organization promised self-improvement, but behind closed doors, it operated as a manipulative and abusive cult. Mack played a central role, recruiting women, enforcing control, and becoming deeply entangled in its darkest operations. When the truth emerged, the shockwaves rippled through Hollywood and beyond. The bright, familiar image of the beloved actress was shattered, replaced by headlines detailing criminal charges, legal battles, and the shocking unraveling of a group that had exploited and preyed upon its members, leaving fans stunned and disillusioned. Mack eventually pleaded guilty to racketeering charges, acknowledging her participation in the cult's operations. She was sentenced to prison, completing a term that symbolically and permanently closed the chapter on her once promising acting career. Unlike others who have weathered scandals, served time, or faced public outrage, Mack did not attempt a comeback. The doors of Hollywood, once open and welcoming, slammed shut. Studios, producers, and networks that might have given her a second chance withdrew entirely. Allison Mack's story is a chilling reminder of how choices off-screen can completely erase years of professional accomplishment. Allison's career went from fame and admiration to legal infamy, leaving no way back to the spotlight. However, one final name stands out above the rest. Let's reveal who it is. Number 1. Kevin Spacey. Kevin Spacey was once untouchable. An Oscar-winning actor, he was the embodiment of prestige, commanding respect, both on stage and screen. From The Usual Suspects to American Beauty, his performances captivated audiences and defined an era of dramatic storytelling. On television, he became the face of modern prestige TV, leading House of Cards with a charisma and depth that few could rival. Hollywood saw him as a talent beyond question. a man whose name alone guaranteed critical acclaim, attention, and box office draw. Then everything changed in 2017. Multiple accusations of sexual misconduct surfaced, and the industry responded with unprecedented speed and decisiveness. Netflix, one of the most powerful entertainment platforms in the world, removed him from House of Cards. A completed film, All the Money in the World, was reshot with another actor replacing him. An extraordinary move that had never happened before. The message was clear. Reputation, power, and influence could not shield anyone from the consequences of scandal. Spacey, once untouchable, was suddenly untethered from the industry that had elevated him. Even after later legal proceedings cleared him of some charges, the damage could not be undone. Hollywood studios and major streaming platforms avoided his name completely, pulling back from high-profile projects. What remained were sporadic independent films and small supporting roles, work that could never match the fame, visibility, or influence of his earlier blockbuster career, leaving him far from the spotlight he once commanded. Kevin Spacey's downfall was more than the collapse of a single career. It sent shockwaves through Hollywood itself. His story became a stark lesson in how power, fame, and accountability collide, proving that no one, no matter how celebrated or untouchable, is beyond scrutiny. Public outrage, industry pressure, and lasting scandal reshaped not only his life, but also how Hollywood handles its stars. What do you think about these actors Hollywood won't hire anymore? Could they have done anything to avoid being on this list? We would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe.